Hello everyone and welcome to Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Today we're doing a Crusader build, and to quickly go over the gear, here's a weapon which is kind of needed for the build, not exactly needed. I'll tell you what you need instead later on, but for this build you need it to some degree because of that. Whenever attacking with your melee attack like this against the enemy, it sends out a piercing axe that does quite a bit of damage. As for the rest of the gear, not really needed. As you can see, it still has some 60 gear because it's freshly 270, just like my Witch Doctor was. So Crusaders are kinda overpowered if you go about them right. But anyways, for the first move we have Slash. This works with the proc from my weapon. Because I have the weapon, that's why I'm using the Slash. If you do not have the weapon like me, which is pretty overpowered weapon, you use Smite with the Reaping rune, which gives you increased life per second and increases your survivability, which is already really high. It allows you to go through higher torment levels, and it is a ranged attack. It's like a mid-range build for your Crusader. Then we have Fist of Heavens with the Divine Wall. Divine Wall is because it's holy damage, and this is pretty much a holy build except for the bombardment. You can use any rune here if you're not going for holy damage, but this is a holy elemental damage stacking build. Just make sure to keep that in mind on whether you're going to change it or not. It's better than the other ones, except sweeping attack would proc my weapon, but as you can see, it has no holy skill, so it doesn't work too well with this build. I could change it, but Fist of Heaven does quite a lot of damage, and its little beams of electricity that go out there continue onwards even after they hit something, and they arc to nearby targets, so it does a lot of damage. Then we have Provoke with the Charge Up rune. You could use any rune here. It's pretty much just for that generating the Wrath for us. And it does keep off the targets that it hits from your allies if you're playing in a co-op game, which usually you would with a Crusader. Then we have Condemn, and we have the Unleash rune, which makes it the explosion instant. Again, you could take whatever rune you want from here, but you generally want that damage out right away whenever you press it, because monsters run away, they die too quickly in co-op games, and so on and so forth. So you want that damage out right away. That's why you have the Unleashed. Now we have Bombardment. Now you could choose any rune in here. It doesn't really matter. This is pretty much a free slot, actually. The reason I have Bombardment is because of the impactful bombardment rune, which increases its damage to 3,320% for 18 yards. Of course, it takes a bit of time for it to land, so against very fast mobs you have to be careful on when to use it. Then we have Heaven's Fury. The Heaven's Fury is pretty much use it whenever the hell it is up. We have it with Ascendance, and actually you can take whatever rune you want from this again. I found Ascendance to have the more damage than the other ones in particular, so that's why I grabbed that. But you can choose whichever one you want. Fires of Heaven looks rather nice, but the Ascendance actually follows your target. I'm not sure about the other ones. I'm pretty sure the one that split into three, this Split Fury, does not follow targets, unless they changed it. Now, we have Holy Cause, which increases our damage dealt by weapon by 10%. Whenever you deal holy damage, you gain 1% of your total life. As you can see, it works well with the holy build. And then we have Divine Fortress, which increases your armor percent by your block chance. This is because I'm using a shield. It ups our defense greatly. It's not really mandatory. Fit whatever the hell you want in there. Then we have Iron Maiden. Thorns damage, quite nice. It scales with difficulty, not level. Well, I think it's difficulty and level, but pretty much as you get to higher torments, it gets higher. After you go lower, it gets lower. It's kind of a constant damage to have there. It's nice to have. You can change it if you want to. Then we have Heavenly Strength. It's because I'm using a two-hander. Pretty much, if you're not using a two-hander, change it to whatever you want. What I would recommend is have Righteousness if you want to get rid of one of the passive skills that you can. Holy Cause is kind of mandatory with the Holy build. You could also grab the Indestructible because the spec is more AoE oriented with cooldown reduction. It doesn't make do with doing bosses quickly very well. Neither does it kill bounties fast enough to be within the kind time restraint for the YouTube upload and for pretty much because there's very little to talk about the build while doing this, so it's a lot easier for me to just quickly do one type of content and fast. So we're doing the shrine here, and you'll be able to see how much AoE potential this actually has, as well as the build in its action in the range that the damage currently can do effectively, though the toughness is already at the level of being able to do Torment 1. Just the damage just isn't up there yet. So this is going rather fast, as you can see, and HP isn't really dropping. We have some ranged attacks, we have some close attacks. We might not make it because this thing keeps running. There we go, we made it quickly, fastly done. You can see the damage potential, you can see just how well it did, but because there was no elite group, we'll quickly find one if there's one right close by. No, that's the entranceway. There you are, finally. Okay, let's quickly till this because we don't want the upload too long, and there's not really much to talk about. You could change the build to make it more single target focused, and to do that you would change the condemn into the phalanx. I don't know how you say that. Phalanx, slangs. See, flanks. I don't know. Into the bodyguard ruin, and this pretty much has you two bodyguards to go with you that do quite a bit of damage, though it has a cooldown, which is also why you want to stack cooldown reduction as a Crusader. It's pretty much mandatory as a Crusader to stack cooldown reduction. So I will see you guys in the next video.